Praise Lord, saints and friends. This is Adrian Hammond, Elder Adrian Hammond. And we're going through another session on our journey through Genesis. Currently we're on the 12th chapter. We'll begin today at the 18th verse. Abram just went down into Egypt. Interesting, because the Israelites went down into Egypt once more. And the only way that they can come out was to break through slavery. In this case, it didn't get to that particular distance, but it came on in accompanying with a lie. Well, not necessarily a lie in terms of what was said. It was actually very accurate what Abram said. But Abram deceived because he didn't tell the whole truth. And that's the key. That to get anything from this lesson is that we must endeavor to tell the whole truth, not some of the truth so someone can be spared, or some of the truth so we can get an advantage over it, or some of the truth that we won't hurt somebody. But we have to tell the whole truth, regardless of what. Otherwise, we may mislead someone into thinking of something, and it's not it. That's exactly what Abram did. He misled someone. And even though the Lord okayed it, it's possible that the Lord also delayed his promise. We don't know. We don't know for sure because it didn't say that. But essentially, it did cause a few problems. So let's go ahead with verse number 18. At this point, Abram had told Pharaoh, or had told the Egyptians, and got to Pharaoh, that Sarai was his sister. Didn't say she was his wife. And the reason why that's a problem is because they thought that, well, his sister, then I can go and include her into my harem. I can include her into my court. She could be one of my princesses, one of my queens, which again is very, very unusual, especially for a person who is 65 years old. And if she aged anything close to what we do now, the fact that she was very fair to look at, it's quite astounding. But as I said before, the Lord will always, always preserve somebody, that they don't look as old as you may think. And that there's been many instances where people have told me their true age, and I'm left with my mouth on the floor. What? But that's how the Lord does. He preserves you. He keeps you. And even though we may not necessarily think so, God has everything under control. He really does. So the problem was that God protected Sarai, even through their deception, in that he began to plague Pharaoh's court. He began to plague the Egyptians because of Pharaoh, trying to fool around, let's say, with Sarai. But somehow Pharaoh began to understand something's not right. Before this woman was here, we were fine. Now that this woman is here, we're receiving all these plagues. And he put two and two together, and this is what he came up with. Verse number 18, Genesis chapter number 12, says, and Pharaoh called Abram and said, what is this that thou hast done unto me? Notice, he didn't say what Sarai did. Because Sarai was the one who Abram had told to, whenever anyone asks you, say you're my sister, which she was. She was Abram's sister, at least half sister, but she was also Abram's wife. Now, to keep people from saying, you see, the Lord promoted incest. No, he did not. And in that time, there was not that many people upon the earth. And so it was probably no way that it couldn't have happened in terms of someone marrying their sister, someone, so on. That was bound to happen. The same thing as we people ask about, well, who was Cain's wife? Well, essentially, you could say the same thing about those who came after Noah. The same thing. But the idea here is that Abram used that knowledge to deceive Pharaoh in fear of his own life. And Abram did not trust God to keep him through that situation where he should have. Sometimes it's easy for us to say something. It'll make it much easier for us. But then we'd have to lie again and again and again. Instead of telling the truth once. It may hurt for a little bit, but afterwards you'll be at peace. It's better than having to find out what story did I tell this person? What story did I tell this person? What story did I tell this person? And then end up figuring out it's much harder, it's much easier to go ahead and tell the truth. So, Abram was called to the carpet by Pharaoh. Said, what have you done unto me? Again, it was not that Sarai had done anything, because she was directed to do so by Abram, her husband. And Pharaoh put two and two together. Or somebody told him, whatever happened, he figured out that Sarai was not Abram's sister, but he was something else much closer. Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? And essentially, see, fear causes many of us to lie and to justify it. That if I tell the truth, I'd be dead. And people need me. They don't need me dead, they need me alive. See where I'm going with this? You've already tried to justify your need to tell a lie because so many people are counting on me. So many people need me. So it's best that I tell a lie to preserve them and tell the truth, and I'm taken away from them. Instead of believing that God will protect you and keep you, and that you swear to your own hurt and change not, that you do not tell a lie because you want to get out of something. That's the one thing that many of us, even saved people, end up doing. We tell some version of the truth, but we hide all of the truth. And we end up saying a version that helps us. But God doesn't like that. It's the whole truth that needs to be told, regardless of what takes place. It's the whole truth. Because if we don't tell the whole truth, then we're responsible for whatever happens afterwards. And in this case, Abram was responsible for what happened to the Egyptians. Why didst not thou tell me? Why didst thou not tell me? All you had to do is tell me. I wasn't going to kill you. I probably would have kept other people from the same thing. If you just went to me, many times we don't even think that to go to the person. And the person is just, why did you say that? Just come to me. Just talk with me. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to do anything to you. But we're so scared because what we think, See, Satan likes to put tricks on us. He likes to take our mind and play with it so that we end up doing the wrong thing, thinking we're doing something right. You can never do the right thing by doing something wrong. Doing wrong doesn't justify doing right. And I think that's the point that we as saints have to stick by. Even though I understand that you want peace in your family, but you cannot lie. Not lie about God, not lie about others, not even lie about yourself. You gotta tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Not that you have to swear, but you do affirm it. That you tell the truth and everything there is about it. That's why the law says it. It doesn't say tell the truth, some part of it, and leave others behind. That's why he said the whole truth. If the law demands that, why doesn't the Lord demand that? And he's higher than the law. Verse 19, why saidest thou, she is my sister? Why did you say that? I'm sure that Pharaoh may have gotten Sarai to confess to him that this was the story that I was to tell to you, to protect my husband, to keep my husband from being killed. And Sarai was going to do whatever her husband said to do. She was a very submissive woman, not mealy-mouthed, because at times she could do whatever she wanted to do. But she was submissive to her husband. So she followed what he said. Not that Sarai wasn't culpable in this, but at the same time, it was her husband that told her to do this. And so the husband bears responsibility. And even in our own marriages, if we tell our wives to do something, and it turns out to be bad, we can't get mad at the wives for it not working. We got to look at ourselves and say, why did I tell her to do that? Why did I insist on her doing these things? After all is said and done, it's up to me, the husband, to protect, to keep, and also to make sure that the truth is told. Why saidest thou, she is my sister? So I might have taken her to me to wife. I could have slipped. Abram, I could have slipped. I could have married her, and she would have been your wife. And then, not just my God, but the God that I have, the God of the Egyptians, probably would have not liked that. I took another man's wife. Why would I do that? Why would you think that I'm going to take your life because that's your wife? Yeah, she's fair, but I got women in my own harem. Got women that I can definitely do whatever I want to do with them. I don't need your wife. She's nice to look at, yes. Would I have liked having her? Yes. But when all these things come forth, and Abram, all he could do was just sit there and listen. Because he knew he was wrong. He knew he was wrong. But as he said before, sometimes threats whether it's threats from someone else or threats that originate from the inside of yourself, sometimes you build up for yourself threats that most likely would never happen. But because we think of something, we get paranoid, we get fearful. And what happens? We end up paying dearly for what we say and do. Because it originated within us. Doubt was put in our mind. Fear is put in our minds. Fear hath torment. We have to realize that fear has torment. Because we are fearing what will take place, we're fearing what happens as a result of us going ahead and telling the truth, then we try to mitigate that by telling a lie. But we end up, that lie getting right back in our faces, blowing up in our faces. And we end up saying, oh, if I had just told the truth, if I had just reasoned with everybody, not just that truth that I wanted to put out, but the whole truth. If I had just done that, then eventually everything would have been better. And it inevitably is. So saints, don't try to tell half-truths. Even if you think that you're protecting somebody, tell the whole truth. I think one time my pastor was asking me about somebody. And I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to get that person in trouble. And he very sternly said, you, Elder, you have to tell me. Because you're not helping that person if you are holding back. I know you want to protect that person. And in fact, I'll ask your wife. Because I know she'll tell me everything. And Sister Amen did. And the problem was that, because he knew I had a heart not to, someone say rat on somebody, but it really wasn't ratting. It was telling the truth. But he began to ask my wife, if I wanted to tell the whole truth, ask his wife. Because he knew that she would tell him the whole truth. Now, if there's anything that I regret, that's what I regret. Because he just wanted me to be able to, so that he can make an informed decision. And my misguided thoughts of trying to protect someone from what? From what the Lord had wanted that person to do, or needed that person to do? That person could have heard something? Why should I have regret? Why should I have held back from that? And then he had to ask someone else. He had to ask someone else to explain the whole truth. And as I said, I regret that. So now, I must tell the truth. I must tell the entire truth, even if it seems to be distasteful, even if it seems to get me in trouble, even if it seems to get someone else in trouble. Because no one should ever, let me also tell you, any minister that gets up and receives people, you have to let people know, let them know that whatever I'm saying, if it's something that needs to be on the pastor, I'm going to have to tell this to pastor. Because he has to know. Why? Because it's not that pastor wants secrets. It's that pastor wants to help. He wants to get help for that person. But we're so fearful of that. People in the prayer line, like they swear you to secrecy. Don't tell pastor this. Don't tell pastor that. Why not? He needs to know. If you are not comfortable with me telling pastor, then don't tell me anything. Don't confess to me. Don't tell me anything. Because pastor needs to know so he can help. Or she can help. Something very important for you ministers. Don't ever keep things from the pastor. Don't let anyone swear you to secrecy. Not supposed to swear anyway. Or promise. Because you don't want to break that promise. Or break that oath. And Christ tells us not to swear by anything anyway. Why saidest thou, she is my sister, so I might have taken her to me for wife? Now therefore, behold thy wife, take her, and go thy way. I'm kicking you out of Egypt. I've given you enough. I'm not taking anything back. I'm not taking anything back. I've given it to you. Hopefully you'll use it. But it's not for you to stay here with us anymore. You're too much of a danger. I can't trust you. And that should be a bitter taste in someone's mouth. in a saint's mouth that go your way. We can't really be friends anymore. I cannot trust you like I used to because I don't know if you're going to tell me the truth or not. I can't trust you. That, to me, is probably one of the worst feelings, that a fellow saint can't trust you because you couldn't trust them with the truth. So saints, I'm not saying that you are trying to hurt people. You're not. But you gotta be trustworthy. You gotta tell the truth. If it requires it, you gotta tell the truth. And requires, but that doesn't mean that you speak upon demand. But if you know something's gonna happen and you don't want to hold something that someone could use as very important, then tell someone the whole truth. Even if it's about someone else. Let them know what they're getting themselves into. Let them know what they have to face. Don't hold back on it. Because now I can't trust you anymore. You're my brother, you're my sister, but I can't trust you anymore. Now therefore, behold thy wife. Take her and go thy way. Didn't tell him to stay in for a little bit, but go. Take your wife and leave. You're not welcome here. Wow. He's supposed to be led of God. You're supposed to be a saint of God. And yet, we're supposed to go our ways. I don't trust you anymore. Verse 20. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, meaning don't touch him. Don't get mad at him. Don't have retribution against him. This is a man's wife. Don't touch his wife. But let them know they have to go. They can't stay. They cannot stay. And maybe Abram felt okay after that. But you have to think, as someone who could have been witnessing, someone who could have let people know of the power of God, you've lost that opportunity to say that. And that's where sin comes in, saints. It's not that God can't forgive you. Yes, God will forgive you because he's faithful and just to forgive. He's faithful. We may not be faithful, but the Lord is faithful. But that does not mean that there's no repercussions. It does not mean that you are in the same boat as you were before. Now your words are not completely taken as truth as it was before. You lied once, you may lie again. You did this once, you may do it again. And they would be right. It's going to take a while for you to earn back the trust that you had. Don't get mad at them. You were the one that told the lie. You're the one that told the half truth. You're the one that didn't tell the whole thing. So it's not their fault, it's yours. Own up to it. Deal with it. And maybe next time you'll tell the truth. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away. They, his men, his servants, they didn't abide. They didn't go against Pharaoh. They didn't, you know what, I won't tell Pharaoh that you're still here for a few nights. No, go, leave. And they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had. Now, for his journey, Abram did pick up a lot of possessions. He came to Egypt relatively rich. He leaves Egypt very rich. Even in his disobedience, the Lord protected him because the Lord knew he would need it. He knew. And that's a lesson for us saints. God may still bless you, but but that he wants you to have learned a lesson. Trust him, saints. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. And lean not to your own understanding. That's what we must do, saints. May God bless you. May he keep you. Love you all. Take care in Jesus' name.